Fatuse, the question being posed upon my side is, can you just go into more depth and explain to us what is risk tolerance?
Thank you for the question from the floor about what is risk tolerance. You recall in the previous session before we went for break, I've done a series about understanding what is risk appetite. Sometimes several people confuse the difference between risk appetite and risk tolerance. Risk appetite, we said, is the amount of risk an organization is willing to take, set by the board, set by executive in pursuit of their given objectives outlined in the strategic plan and strategic documents of the organization. Whereas risk tolerance can be also defined from the perspective of the framework of COSO model as well as the ISO 21000. From the COSO model, it says that risk tolerance is the amount of risk an organization or individual is willing to take, to accept in order to achieve specific goals. I want to understand is say risk tolerance is applicable both to the public sector, also to the private sector, also to non-government organizations, to families, church, universities, schools, across the board, because even the risk tolerance is also not just only organizations, it's also applicable to individuals, because even individuals in their daily lives, they have a tolerance level of the amount of risk they're willing to accept in pursuit of their goals as well. I think risk tolerance is a measure of how sensitive an organization or group of people or individual is to risk in regard. It's about the sensitivity of the organization towards that risk, or the sensitivity of the individual towards pursuing or accepting an amount of risk in regard. Whereas from the ISO 221 standards, says risk tolerance is the level of risk an organization or individual is prepared to bear after risk treatment has been implemented. Let me be more detailed now. Want to make it more practical when I speak about risk tolerance, make it a practical example to answer your question about what is tolerance level 2. I want to have a more broad understanding about, to make practical about what is risk tolerance. I think risk tolerance is the ability or willingness to tolerate existence of opinions. On a personal level, tolerance is the ability or willingness to tolerate the existence of opinions or behavior that one dislikes. In regard, is at what level are you willing to tolerate anything that you dislike, or opinions of others that you dislike or that you disagree with such stuff. I think it is as the tolerance, same instance, the tolerance of corruption. To what level are you willing to tolerate corruption within your environment, corruption within the school, corruption within society, corruption within your workplace? Some people, they have a low level of tolerance level. It means what? They will leave an organization that's toxic, it's filled with corruption. Some people will leave a corrupted society or community. Regard means what? The tolerance has to do with a practical thing we do every day. It's about the ability or willingness to tolerate the existence of opinions or behaviors that one dislikes or disagree. I think it's also about the capacity to endure continuous subjection to something such as a drug or environment. Regard some people's body. That's why the doctor will always ask you, do you have any symptoms, negative symptoms? Do you have, allergies to something? It has to do with your body. What can your body tolerate? Because some drugs, some people's body is not, more conducive towards that particular drug. That's why you find they will always ask you what food are you allergic to. Even some people, even they not tolerate certain types of food in regard. I think like without any adverse reaction to instance. I think for instance, a practical example of tolerance is we look at the camel. In the desert, the camel can have a greatest tolerance for dehydration. It can be without water for a long period of time. That is the tolerance level of a camel. So tolerance means having patience for someone else with whom we might lose patience without exerting some effort. Some people are short-tempered, means that the tolerance level to endure certain stuff is a very low level in regard. So some people can make jokes, they will still be fine. Some people, they are quick-tempered, they are hot-tempered people. people, they got quick angry, all the stuff. I'm saying it's about the tolerance level. So I think like to go more detail upon it regard. So to make it more practical, I just want to say to you to understand is what is tolerance. Because why? If we understand tolerance in a practical level, we never understand risk tolerance in regard. That's why I'm trying to make these practical examples for you to relate upon it, and from that perspective, able to apply it as a risk specialist or those who are involved in the process as a risk owner, as a control owner, or as an action owner to set this tolerance level. When you try to mitigate your residual risk to an acceptable level. Tolerance is the willingness we said to accept behavior. Tolerance is the willingness to accept feelings or habits or beliefs that are different from your own, from a practical level, from a personal level, although you might not agree with or approve them. I think it's to what level are you willing to accept them contrary, different behavior, feelings, habits, beliefs that are different from yours. I think on my side, I'll give an example of myself. On my quiet space, I like to be alone. I'm not willing to tolerate anything that's not willing to build me up. I can't be in a company, a bad company that always want to be a bad mouth people, gossip in the regard. So I have a low tolerable level. There's a zero tolerance level for environment that's not building me up. So it depends to say tolerance has to do with one, the willingness to accept behavior, feelings, habits, beliefs that are different from your own. I'm willing to tolerate people with different opinions, but the intention to say they're willing to build up themselves, to develop, to move away. From maybe say bad mouthing, gossip, lies, all the stuff. I'm willing to tolerate if there's a willingness of change within those people in regard. I think the word tolerance has to do with being able to handle suffer, such as accepting others even you disagree with them. Also, tolerance is a practical experience like when you're loving others with respect and humility. And also tolerance also has to do with not tailoring the truth to make your views more pleasant, tasty to others in regard. Some people compromise the truth for sake to be liked in regard. So if you have a zero tolerance, when you stand for the truth, means what you're not able to customize it, distort the truth, but you're able to stand even though it's unpopular to do so. My conclusion, what I want to say in regard, so if I just want to conclude more detailed, summarize whatever I've said to say to you, so it's important to understand that risk appetite is related to risk tolerance and level, but the two are distinct. As I've emphasized to you regard to say that risk tolerance is the acceptable deviation from organization's risk appetite. I repeat again, risk tolerance is the acceptable deviation from organization's risk appetite. I hope it makes sense. I hope I've answered you. But I think it's also important to understand from a practical level, if you understand tolerance support game, that's why you can find some organizations will say they have a zero tolerance towards corruption because they're not willing to promote bad governance, poor governance, or leadership crisis in the regard. So it means what some people said, different levels of tolerance level. Some people were saying they're able to pursue our financial objectives. We're willing to spend about 85% or 90% of our capital budget, means that they have a tolerance level of 10% in regard or operational budget, where you find some organizations say we have spent this money, we must spend it all and able to achieve the objectives. It means what any organization, they have a different level of acceptable deviation from the organization appetite. I hope it makes sense. Thank you. Bye.